It seems increasingly likely that Ukraine will be getting F-16 fighter jets in the future. However, its military forces on the ground are also getting some upgrades. CNN's Nick Robertson reports on the new tools being added to Ukraine's arsenal.
The cold effect. So after 3 or 4 days in the cold, if you're leaving it outside or there's no heating, these will last probably 3 weeks.
Ukrainian troops get a lesson on covert bomb making.
And that goes through your battery.
British explosives and counterinsurgency specialists pass on decades of know-how to soldiers already well versed in normal frontline combat. But these are no ordinary bombs. They are secret weapons in Ukraine's clandestine arsenal to kill Russians on Ukrainian land.
If we have a high priority target, we of course use this equipment against it.
And it's not just individual targets. Similar technology, already in very experienced Ukrainian hands, was used to bring down a building on dozens of Russian troops recently in Bakhmut.
This equipment is used to destroy the enemy. We use it to produce explosive devices we can use on the ground, on the battlefield, or in the air as munition for drones.
But it's not just the subversive skills and techniques the British experts bring that are needed in undercover operations. It's the bomb components too. Sophisticated switches, specialized microchips, night vision goggles, covert monitoring devices, even 3D printers. Some relatively easy to buy outside Ukraine are in high demand because troops here are in a race against time against the Russians, and getting them through NATO partners simply takes too long.
It's hard to measure this help with words or numbers, because it's a great moral support for us, straight to our hearts, and we are very, very grateful for this help.
It's a measure, even on the eve of an expected big counter-offensive, of just how much help Ukraine's military still needs. That more than a year into the war, even the smallest of components, the most modest of hands-on help, is so gratefully received. Nick Robertson, CNN, Eastern Ukraine.
A day after claiming to have taken control of the bitterly contested city of Bakhmut, Wagner chief Yevgeny Prigozhin says his forces will be pulling out of Ukraine on Thursday and hand over its positions to the Russian military. But there's been no response yet on that from the Russian Ministry of Defense. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and the Ukrainian military have disputed Wagner's claims.
I clearly understand what is taking place in Bakhmut, and we all clearly understand why all of that is taking place. I cannot share with you the tactical views of our military, of our warriors, but as of today we can see that the country, which dozens times is bigger than we are, cannot occupy us, cannot win in this war, and we understand that a bit more and then we will be prevailing.
Claire Sebastian, following all the mixed messages for us here. We've got 3 different messages, haven't we, between the Ukrainians and Wagner and the Russian Defense Ministry.
Yeah, and I think Ukraine is making it clear that they don't want to hand Russia this propaganda victory, right? That after months and months of fighting, Russia wants to claim some kind of victory that it can bring home to its people here. Ukraine isn't going to allow it that. In terms of what Wagner is saying, that they're going to pull out on the 25th, we've seen this kind of threat from them before. You remember they said just ahead of Victory Day that they were going to pull out right after. That was partly because of a dispute with the Ministry of Defense over equipment. So I think we'll believe that when we see it, because we know that Ukraine is still looking for an opening to move back in and take more territory. They are, if anything, just holding on to a tiny bit of the town. They've been trying to advance on the flanks. It's clear Russia does have the upper hand there, but they are not giving up. And of course, the timing of all of these announcements, especially the Russian claim, comes as Ukraine took a major step forwards towards getting those F-16s, those fighter jets that it's been pushing for a long time. The US saying that it will support training, it's signaling to its allies that it will allow the re-export from other countries. And I think that sort of provides a context here. Let's take a listen to what Jake Sullivan, the US National Security Advisor, had to say about it.
The United States has mobilized an exceptional effort to deliver on time and in full everything Ukraine needs to launch this counteroffensive. Now that we've done that, we can look forward to the long-term capacity of Ukraine to be able to defend itself and deter Russian aggression. Fourth-generation fighter aircraft, Western fighter aircraft, F-16s are relevant to that fight.
So no one's disputing the level of US aid, right, to Ukraine. It's something like $37 billion since the start of the war, which is really more than double everyone else put together. But it's the trickle effect that's controversial because Russia has also adapted its tactics. And I think if you look at the amount of time it's going to take to train on F-16s, even at the reduced time of a couple of months, it doesn't look like they'll be in place for this counteroffensive. And of course, that is the most important thing for Ukraine right now.
Yeah, and also of immediate concern is, again, the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant, which has had another power cut.
Yeah, a blackout is what the Ukrainian side are calling it, the 7th since the start of the war. This means not that they've lost all electricity, but they've lost all external power supplies. Now they're relying on diesel generators, which the Ukrainian atomic energy company says they've got enough fuel to run for just 10 days. So in their words, the countdown has started. The UN's nuclear watchdog, the IAEA, is warning this morning that this presents a major threat to nuclear safety. Obviously, you need electricity in a nuclear plant, even when the reactors are in shutdown, which they are now, to provide cooling and other essential functions to prevent a nuclear accident. We've seen these blackouts before, as I said, Max. The power has been restored in a matter of hours to days, but we know the situation in the plant is worsening. Staffing levels have been dropping. There was shelling last week near the plant, which the IAEA warned about. So there is concern about this. And of course, it's potentially on the front line of where we're going to see possibly a counteroffensive starting.
Okay. Claire, thank you.